Imagine holding a seed. You bury it in soft, rich soil, water it daily, and bathe it in light. It grows, reaching, thriving, rooted. Now take the same seed, plant it in dry, acidic dirt. No water, no sun, surrounded by toxins. It withers, fades, dies. Not because the seed changed, but because the soil did. Your Iman is that seed, and your environment, the friends you choose, the content you consume, the world you let in, will either nourish or poison your soul. Welcome to episode 4. Today, we explore the fourth strategy, the soil of your soul, how surroundings shape certainty. The Qur'an speaks not just to minds, but to hearts shaped by surroundings. Allah mentions what people will say, what some people will say. Woe to me! I wish I had not taken that one as a friend. He led me away from the reminder after it had come to me. This was not a loss of belief through argument, it was a quiet erosion through company. Shaitan rarely shouts, he whispers, and slowly his whispers become your norms. The Prophet ﷺ warned us too. He said, a person is upon the religion of his close friend, so let each of you carefully consider whom he befriends. And again, with vivid imagery, the Prophet ﷺ said, the parable of good and bad company is that of a seller of musk and a blacksmith. The seller of musk will give you perfume, you will buy some, or you will notice a pleasant smell. As for the blacksmith, he will burn your clothes, or you will notice a bad smell. The musk seller leaves you scented, the blacksmith stains you. If not with fire, then with smoke. Exposure imprints. Even if you don't imitate, it shapes you. And this is echoed by social science. Consider the Solomon Asch conformity study in 1951. Participants were shown a series of lines and asked to match them by length. An easy task. But when planted actors in the group gave wrong answers, many participants followed suit, giving answers they knew were wrong, just to conform. The study revealed how deeply we crave social acceptance, even at the cost of truth. Also reflect on the Stanford prison experiment in 1971. Volunteers were randomly assigned roles of prisoners and guards in a simulated prison. Within days, the guards began abusing the prisoners, not out of malice, but because the environment normalized cruelty. The study showed how toxic surroundings can corrupt ordinary people. And think about the NYU Cornell social media study in 2020. By analyzing user behavior on platforms like Facebook and Twitter, researchers found that consistent exposure to specific content gradually shifts users' beliefs, politically, morally, and spiritually, without deliberate reflection. The study demonstrated how digital environments quietly shape our convictions. The conclusion is simple. Environment is not passive background noise. It is a powerful sculptor reshaping your moral compass, not with arguments, but with repetition, quietly, daily, relentlessly. One of the stories in the Qur'an that continues to captivate my heart is the story of the people of the cave. They were a group of young men, youth, full of potential, who refused to bow to falsehood, who stood against the tide of polytheism and proclaimed the truth. There is no deity worthy of worship but Allah. And Allah says about them, indeed, they were youths who believed in their Lord, and we increased them in guidance. Fearing persecution, they fled the city and took refuge in a cave. They gave up the comfort of their homes, their status, their security, all for the sake of truth. And Allah responded to their sincerity not just with protection, but with a miracle. So we cast a cover of sleep over their ears within the cave for a number of years. Allah caused them to sleep for centuries, preserving their bodies, their souls, and their legacy. But here is what amazes me even more. The Qur'an mentions a dog with them, and their dog stretched its forelegs at the entrance. A seemingly insignificant creature, a dog, an animal often seen as a lowly, impure, and unwanted in most sacred spaces. Yet Allah honored it. He mentioned it in His eternal revelation alongside the names of the righteous. Why? Ibn Kathir, the great exegete, posed this question and gave a profound answer. He said, the dog was not noble in of itself, but because it chose to be with the righteous, Allah honored it. Because it was in the company of the people of Tawheed, Allah included it in their divine protection. Let that sink in. If Allah honored a dog, an animal, because it was with righteous companions, then what might He do for you if you surround yourself with people who remind you of Him? What mercy could descend in your life? What guidance could flood your heart? What peace could blossom in your soul? Simply because you walked with the people of truth. The message is stunningly clear. O you who believe, fear Allah and be with those who are truthful. Close friends that day will be enemies to each other, except for the righteous. Who you surround yourself with matters. It matters deeply, because company doesn't just influence you, it reshapes you. It defines you. It can even determine your eternity. So ask yourself, if a dog was saved simply by sitting at the feet of the righteous, who are you sitting beside? It is important to understand doubt develops through exposure, not just by argument. Most people who drift from Islam don't say, I found an argument I couldn't refute. Instead, they usually say, I just didn't feel connected anymore. Everyone around me thought differently. It just faded. The Prophet ﷺ said, the heart is like a feather in an open field, turned by the wind as it pleases. So if your soul lives in storms, don't be surprised when it starts spinning. And consider the digital soil. Your environment isn't just who you meet, it's also what you scroll. What videos fill your nights? What jokes make you laugh? Who do you follow on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube? What stories are shaping your thoughts on love, gender, purpose, success? Every post is a seed. Every meme is a message. Each feed is a stream of influence, either feeding your fitrah or fogging it. As Allah says, and do not incline towards those who do wrong. The thing is, the danger isn't always direct. It's the slow drift. So, what happens in a toxic environment? Over time, you start hiding your Islam to fit in. You justify what you once called sin. You feel ashamed of hijab, prayer, purity. You crave acceptance over obedience. You forget how sacred submission once felt, and then one day, you look at yourself and wonder, when did I lose my faith? You didn't. It was leaked. Day by day, click by click, laugh by laugh. Not because Islam changed, but because your environment changed you. Islam never asked you to live in a cave. It calls you to discernment. Surround yourself with people who remind you of Allah. Follow content that elevates, not erodes your iman. Feed your soul with Qur'an, dhikr, dua. Balance digital exposure with spiritual renewal. You can't thrive in toxic soil, but you don't have to fear the forest. Clean the soil, choose the light, guard your seed. Here is a final reflection and takeaway. Ask yourself, what is shaping my Iman right now? Who do I walk with online and offline? What voices am I giving authority to? Is my heart drifting or deepening? The Prophet ﷺ made this dua. O Allah, grant us beneficial knowledge, pure sustenance, and accepted deeds. Brothers and sisters, purify your environment because your Iman is not made of stone. It's not immune, but it is renewable. It just depends on where you plant your soul. Let's walk this path together.